It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, it's Haney Kambosos Jr. fight week, and it's gotten started off with a bang. You know, the winner of this fight, a lot of high stakes for the winner of this fight. Winner of this fight is looking at becoming the first undisputed lightweight champion since the great and incomparable Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. So a lot's on the line, and as well as undefeated records, pride, a lot of things. But at the time of shooting this video, yesterday was the initial press conference, and man, oh man, boy, oh boy, what is it? Was it a press conference? Was it a press conference? It was crazy, man. From the entrances, George Kambosos Jr. came out walking down the stairs to 50 Cent, many men. That was pretty cool. Devin Haney had a nice cool little Supreme jacket on. George, but the big thing, right? The big thing to highlight in this whole press conference was George Kambosos Jr. A guy that reads books on war, reads the art of war. The guy that when I once interviewed him about reading these books on war, he said that war is deception. And he's very much about psychological warfare. He's very much about talking that shit in a certain manner and framing it in a certain manner to get into his opponent's head, to get them off their game, right? And mind you, Devin's already got a lot going against him. He's don't got his dad with him. He's in a whole other country. Fighting this guy in his backyard. So it's against all odds for Devin Haney. And George Kambosos Jr. is pulling out all the stops. So George pretty much said that he doesn't know how Devin got into the country of Australia because he didn't know that they let informants into Australia. He said that Devin Haney was an informant. He said that he was a rat. He said that he was a snitch because apparently when George was getting ready to fight Tio, Devin was constantly messaging George messages about what was going on with Teofimo as far as injuries, as far as his personal life with his now ex-wife, and so that happened apparently. And when that fight happened, and now George is using that against Devin to make Devin look like a rat, a snitch, an informant, all these things. And listen, anything. What's the old saying? The old saying says, "All is fair in love and war." So listen, when you're in a big championship fight with all the belts on the line, with reputation, legacy, and your undefeated record on the line, all bets are off. There's no such thing as unfair or talking too much. Any mental advantage you can get over your opponent to get him off his game, you're gonna do it. And George knows this. He knew this about Devin, and he's now using it against him. And I don't know, man. You guys can say what you want to say. I've heard a lot of people saying, "Well, this is a desperate George Kambosos Jr. trying to get into the head of Devin Haney." Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is a desperate George Kambosos Jr. trying to get into Devin Haney's head. But you know the old saying. The old saying goes, "A desperate man is a dangerous man." A desperate man is a dangerous man. And if it does actually get Devin off of his game, which it looks like it did a little bit. The comments and the ferocity and the intensity in which George was making these accusations in front of all the media in the entire boxing world, these things tend to get to Devin, And Devin's a lot like Ryan. He's a lot like a Ryan Garcia. Maybe not to the point of a Ryan Garcia, but I'm saying so far as the way he thinks. Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia come from the social media generation, and when you're a 7-figure fighter, maybe even a 10-figure fighter. Devin apparently makes a lot of money. But when you're a 7-figure fighter in the social media generation, every little thing you do is scrutinized. Everything you do is praised. Everyone's been saying you're the next Floyd Mayweather, and you're the next this, you're the next that since you were a kid. Anytime you have that level of media attention on you from that young of an age to now, you're always going to be very, very cautious with your brand. You're going to be very, very self-conscious with what you put out there and how you are perceived. And Devin Haney has done a great job of marketing himself and doing a great job of controlling how people perceive him, for the most part. But being that way also has its drawbacks. And George, being the astute guy he is, he understands these things, and he's using that against Devin because Devin Devin does care what people think about him as far as like social media and whatnot. He always has, you know. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's the truth. And George is trying to use that to his advantage. So there's no such thing as it's unfair. It's he's going too far. No, if it gets Devin off of his game, then he's doing the right thing. You know, it's up to Devin now to not get flustered, not get rattled, stay mentally composed, and don't let Kambosos frustrate him like that with that kind of talk. Because at the end of the day, he could be all those things, but you know what? It doesn't matter, because June 4th, that's all that matters. That 36 minutes that him and George are gonna have alone, that lonely time, that alone time that fighters share in the ring, that very intimate feeling where the fighter across the ring, the man across the ring knows you better than your family. He knows you better than your spouse. He knows everything about your character more than anybody on earth. That's the only thing that matters. And if Devin can keep his mind switched on towards that, okay, focus on what he does great. Don't worry about what George does great. Don't worry about what he's saying. Just worry about what Devin does great. Then he'll put himself in a great position to win. But if this is at all affecting him, if this is at all getting into his head, in any way, shape, or form, along with the fact that his dad's not there, then this is good for George. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, I'll tell you this, man. George Kambosos Jr. sure knows how to sell a fight. He sure knows how to get into under the skin of his opponents. You know, he did it with Lopez. He's doing it now with Haney. So I'm very intrigued. You know, they say when a fighter wins a world title, he becomes 20% better, which I don't think applies to every fighter in boxing, because not every fighter works that hard to keep the belt, and not every fighter values the belts. But George Kambosos Jr., he strikes me as a guy that is working harder to keep the belts than he did to get them. You know, he strikes me as a guy that while he was intense against Teofimo Lopez, he's gonna up his intensity tenfold against Haney, because he knows what's at stake. He knows Devin's one of the purest and best pure boxers in the sport today, and he knows he's gonna have to turn in a great performance to beat him. So desperate times call for desperate measures, and you know what? A desperate fighter is a dangerous fighter. So I'm intrigued to see how this whole Devin Haney is a rat, Devin Haney is an informant, Devin Haney is the Tekashi 6ix9ine of boxing thing marches on, because this could be a big thing that comes into the psychology of Devin Haney if he's handled the right way. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is George Kambosos Jr. desperate? Is this a sign of fear? Or is it a 10-7 mental round for George over Devin? Is George Kambosos Jr. doing the right thing? Is he getting the mental edge on Devin early in fight weight before the fight even starts? Is he beating him before he even fights him? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care.
Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button and surely you will not be disappointed. You know, True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, you know, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia, and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God.